My 26-year-old female stepdad, Jimmy, who is 50 years old, has been in my life for 12 years and has been married to my mom, who is 48, for 10 years. I love him a lot. He holds a special place in my life, and at this point, I see him more than my biological dad. He is also close to my older sister, Allie, who is 28, and my younger brother, Brian, who is 23. He legally adopted them at their request when they turned 18. He also has a son, Jason, who is 31, from his previous relationship, who my mom has also adopted. The topic of inheritance came up when Jason had a child, and Jimmy had to revise his will to include his contribution to his grandchildren. We were joking around and said that the new grandchild would receive everything because she is obviously very loved as the first baby and grandchild. However, Jimmy clarified that things were divided equally among the 4 children. I asked him what that looked like, and he explained that each of my siblings would receive 30%, while I would receive 10%. I was a little shocked because he had previously said that things were divided equally, but it seemed like everyone else was getting more than me. His explanation was that as the legal father of my siblings, it is his full responsibility to ensure that his children are taken care of. Since I still have a legal and parental relationship with my biological dad, I would have access to whatever he left me, whereas my siblings only have him and my mom, so it was fair in his eyes. This obviously hurt me because we have a great relationship, and I have always considered him an additional father figure. We got into an argument after I expressed how upset I was. He pointed out that he has supported me like a father in many other ways, which is true. However, to me, it is not about the money. I told him he was being petty and punishing me for not wanting to be his daughter legally. He seemed really hurt and told me I was being an idiot before walking away, which my siblings agreed with. I didn't think I was the idiot until I talked to Allie, who told me how upset Jimmy was and also called me an entitled idiot. Am I really one here? Edit. Allie, Brian and I have the same mom and biological dad. They do not speak to our biological dad, so I am not sure if there is anything for them in terms of inheritance, but I would be surprised if there is. Why should you get an equal share of their estate as well as your dad's estate? What makes you more deserving than Allie or Brian? I hope he cuts into your percentage for the granddaughter. Plus, why do you feel entitled to anything? Your mom and stepdad should spend every last penny. It's their money, and they may need it for sickness or end-of-life care. No one knows what the future holds, but you risk losing the best piece of the pie, a loving and involved stepdad who you care for. Don't ruin the one good thing he's guaranteed to leave you, his presence in your life. You have the right to set boundaries in your relationship, but he doesn't? You're hurt by this. Imagine how he felt when you didn't want him to adopt you. He didn't even bring it up because he respected your decision. Only leaving you 10% of his estate is not a punishment. It's entitled of you to think so. OP, will you share any inheritance you receive from your biological dad equally with your 3 siblings? I'm guessing no. So you want a bigger piece of the pie? Your stepdad is giving you an equal-ish share of the total pie. In reality, you will likely end up with a larger portion than your 2 biological and 1 step-sibling. You see this as a punishment, but the truth is, you believe you deserve more than an equal share. I don't think he should even leave you 10% when you chose not to be adopted by him. On a different note, I recently changed jobs and landed a position with a significantly higher salary. I went from making $120K as a software engineer to $310K as a senior systems engineer, with a sign-on bonus and stock options. It's a high-risk, high-reward startup, so there's no guarantee it will still exist in a few years. But for now, it's great. I decided not to change my lifestyle, since the money may not last. So I continued spending as usual, and put the extra money towards maxing out my retirement savings and paying off my house. I've also been in a relationship with my boyfriend Jason for about 1.5 years. He makes $90K, so he's doing well for himself. We live in a low-cost, rural area, and he still makes more than the average here. However, after I got the new job, he started criticizing my spending habits. For example, I wanted to build a sunroom gazebo for my house, so I went to a construction material recycling and reuse center to buy lumber and vintage windows. Woodworking and DIY are hobbies of mine, but my boyfriend made fun of me for using materials from a junkyard. Even when I could afford to hire a contractor, the bigger fight has been about our vacation. We had planned a road trip for the summer, mostly camping along the way, and staying in hotels a night or 2 a week to shower and stay near cities we visit. However, after I got the new job, My boyfriend wanted to stay in hotels every night. I was stressed about this because I don't want to start spending as if I will always have this level of cash flow and have my lifestyle creep up, especially since I know it may not last. I also don't want to feel disappointed or struggle when I have to scale back my spending. It was important to me to save whatever extra money is coming in for my future. But my boyfriend called me ridiculous for wanting to sleep on the ground during our vacation when I'm making so much money. I explained that I love camping and was looking forward to all the activities we had planned, such as hiking and climbing. He snapped at me, accusing me of only loving things that are cheap or free and being entitled. I pointed out that if anyone is acting entitled, it's him, since he just wanted me to pay for something without even asking if I wanted to or offering to split the cost. It's like he saw me making more money and decided he wanted to spend it. We had a big fight where he accused me of only caring about myself and my house and retirement and spending thousands of dollars a month on my mortgage instead of making our vacation nice. Am I wrong for wanting to use the extra money from my new job to save for the future? Your boyfriend's financial values are clearly different from mine. The concerning thing is that he refuses to respect my financial values and tries to impose his own on me. He feels entitled to my money. I am grateful that this issue came up now, before our relationship became more serious. I need to end it. My boyfriend is greedy, manipulative, and entitled. Anyone who tries to control how I spend my money is a major red flag. Also, this job is likely temporary, as most startups don't last long. So, it makes sense for me to save for my retirement and pay off my mortgage while I have the opportunity. And for him to call me entitled, that's just projection. You are the one who is acting entitled. You make $190,000 more than before and can't even spend a little on a holiday. It's my money and I am saving it for both of our futures. There's no need for me to be as cheap as you when it's only a couple thousand out of the extra $190,000 I will receive for a few years. You're not even asking for a $70,000 car. It's my money and I will decide how to spend it. Your frugality is actually the issue. My husband, 30, and I, 26, have made the decision not to purchase a smartphone for our daughter, Tween, until she turns 13. Lately, she has been struggling because all of her friends have their own smartphones. She is only able to use mine or my husband's phone when she wants to communicate with her friends or play games. She is unable to use apps like Instagram or TikTok for obvious reasons, and she is not happy about having to use our phones. However, her anger does not last long as she quickly moves on to playing with her siblings, tween, pre-tween, and toddler, or spending time with our dogs or us. The thing is, our decision is being questioned by everyone. They believe we do not know how to raise children, that we are cruel, and many other things. I usually ignore these comments because my husband and I are the only ones who know what is best for our children. But lately, I can no longer ignore these comments as I have become exhausted. My 35-year-old sister-in-law is the one who insists the most on this matter. She believes that a smartphone is essential for a child as it allows them to stay connected with their friends. I have explained to her that it can also connect them with dangerous people, and I want to avoid that. I do not want my daughter to end up like me.
Do not get me wrong, I do not regret having children at a young age because I adore them.
However, there are times when I wish my parents had been more cautious and taught me more things, so I strive to be a better parent. When I expressed this to my sister-in-law, she accused me of being dramatic and claimed that my daughter would hate me for not allowing her to have a smartphone at this age. I reminded her that my daughter is content using my phone to communicate with her friends, but she continued to argue the same point. I became frustrated and yelled at her, telling her to stop and that I do not want to be like her, who gives her preschool child a phone every time he cries. I want to spend quality time with my children, and when they grow up, I want them to remember that, not just mindlessly watching videos on the internet. Of course, she became angry and left my house without saying goodbye. I did not care and continued with my life until I started receiving messages from my in-laws saying that what I did was wrong because I made her feel bad. They claim that she is a single mother and needs her son to be entertained with a phone, and they are waiting for an apology. I told them that I would apologize when she apologizes to me first for the hurtful things she has said to me over the years. I say this because it is normal for her to make fun of me for having children at a young age. I am tired of it. I had to tell her what I did because I am tired of her thinking she is a better mother just because she had her children at the right age. Kids at the right age and not at 16. So am I the idiot for yelling at her? Yelling isn't nice, But it sounds like you really reached a breaking point after years of harassment and criticism from her. Sister-in-law needs to learn to shut up and mind your own business, not the idiot. Sister-in-law got a little taste of her own medicine and wasn't thrilled about it. That said, you should let your husband deal with the extended family chiming in. This is your child! No one else has any right to tell you when they can have technology that's difficult to control and monitor. You're totally right about the phone. But how is blocking her from things helping, as opposed to teaching her safe internet usage at a young age? By 13, she's going to be a lot less receptive to your intervention, and she'll be watching things on her friends' phones now. OP, so you had 3 kids by the time you were like, what, 18? Surprised there are not more comments about the fact that a 20-year-old was the father, considering the normal comments from older men and younger female companions in these stories. Anyway, I say everyone's the idiot here though, because while you have the right not to give your child a phone, you don't have the right to shame your sister-in-law for her parenting, just like she doesn't have the right to shame you for yours. And no idea why these in-laws are even involved, but they suck too. My husband and I have been married for about a year. We have 2 kids, Ella, a teenager who is my daughter from a previous marriage, and Anya, a younger teenager who is his daughter. We have 50-50 custody of both girls, but the custody plan is set up so that each week we have one of the girls, and we usually don't have them at the same time, which I think is a good thing. Anya skipped a grade, so she's in the same class as Ella. A few days before Christmas, Ella came back home crying. She told me that Anya and her friends had been making fun of her. This is not the first time she's bullied my daughter. She mocked her for being overweight and made fun of her for not having any friends. When I heard the whole story of what happened, I was so mad. My father-in-law has been planning a trip for the entire family, completely paid for. And even though Anya wasn't supposed to be with us that week, she was invited. I decided I didn't want her to be anywhere around Ella, so I called my father-in-law, explained everything to him, and asked him to uninvite Anya. He basically told me that if we have a problem with his granddaughter, we can skip the trip and didn't listen to anything else I said. I waited for my husband to come back home and told him everything. He said he'd handle it. I asked him if that meant Anya was uninvited, and he said no, but he would find an appropriate punishment. I was fuming. I made a Facebook post explaining what had happened and said if Anya went, then Ella and I would not be going. My sister-in-law messaged me and called me an idiot, telling me to delete my post and saying I'm delusional for expecting them to uninvite their niece so that 2 strangers could join the trip. We ended up not going. And I'm still seeing red. Am I an idiot for expecting them to uninvite her? You are the idiot. This is not your vacation, and your father-in-law has the right to invite whoever he wants, including all of his grandchildren. It was immature of you to make it about yourself and post it on Facebook. And it's not fair to the girls that you are causing tension between them. I don't understand why you can't have them both at the same time. I do not condone your stepdaughter's bullying, but that is a separate issue that your husband needs to address. You cannot expect your father-in-law to uninvite his grandkids from a trip he planned. You have taken this too far by posting it on social media. Why did you even do that? You have only been married into this family for a year, and your husband's daughter is still a stranger to him. He should not be expected to prioritize you over his own grandchild, whom he has known her whole life. Please stop putting family drama on social media. It's concerning that you think it's your decision to punish Anya, and even more concerning that you think you can dictate who your father-in-law invites on his vacation. It wouldn't surprise me if you bullied Anya when she was around, and she retaliated by bullying your daughter. You say we have 2 kids, but from your words, it seems like you and your husband only have 1 child, your biological daughter. Your husband has a child who you barely tolerate and refuse to parent, but also actively bully and exclude, even publicly humiliating her. You are not just a bad parent, you are an abusive one. You are the idiot, and I hope your husband removes you from his daughter's life before you cause any more harm. I, a 25-year-old female, prioritize staying in shape and go to the gym at least 4 times a week. My 34-year-old sister-in-law has struggled with weight her whole life and recently expressed interest in making a change. She asked if she could be my gym buddy for motivation, so I agreed, and she signed up at the same gym. Our first gym session was yesterday. After work, I picked her up and we went together. However, after only 20 minutes, she wanted to leave. I told her I still needed to finish my workout, which would take another 40 minutes, and suggested she wait in the lobby or in the car. I thought she agreed, but when I finished, I saw a text from my brother saying he had picked her up. This morning, I texted her to let me know when she wanted to go with me again. She never replied. However, I received an angry text from my brother. He told me that it was difficult for her to go to the gym and that my actions completely discouraged her. He said that I humiliated her by telling her to wait in the lobby and that I should have left with her. He claims that she needs time to adjust and that after what I did, she may never go back. He also said that I should be patient with her since she is just starting out. Now, I feel terrible and regret not leaving, but my sister-in-law is very upset with me. Haha, I am not the idiot. If she truly believes that she will have to cut her exercise short because she is exhausted after 20 minutes, then she should not have asked me in the first place. She is an adult and could have simply waited for 20 minutes and played with her phone. She chose to complain instead. It is not my problem. She was not looking for a gym buddy, she was looking for a free ride. If we take away the fact that it was a gym, why is her need to go home more important than my need to stay? This is the risk she took by asking me for a ride. Telling her that I was not ready to leave after 20 minutes is not humiliating. She is using this as an excuse to stay overweight. Now, she can blame me instead of taking responsibility for herself. On a positive note, my brother and sister-in-law seem perfect for each other.